So this is really a topic that Edward brought to our attention, and it's the Postmark Reveal tool. And I just wanted to briefly go through it to demonstrate how easy it is and also to sort of push it a little and see what it can do. So full credit to Edward for sharing this very useful tool with us. In this talk, I'll briefly go through an introduction of what it is. We'll do a live demonstration. I'll look at a couple of comparisons in terms of quality of photos, and then a couple of examples, and then overall conclusions about the site and what works best. So what is it? It's a free online philatelic tool. Even though it's free, I encourage anyone who uses it regularly, please give a donation as thanks. We want to support our philatelic infrastructure. It can be found at postmark-reveal.com. So very simple to find. You simply upload a picture of a hard to visualize postmark from your cover or your stamp, and it then provides 57 different filtered images. You right click to save individual images, or you can download all 57 as a zip file. It accepts many different types of formats, of photo formats. There are 13 images of different grayscale intensities. There are 6 images of a negative at different grayscale intensities. You get color filters and transformations, 36, and I find these the most useful out of all of them. You get a 3D transformation of the postmark, and you also get an edge enhancement image where the edges are highlighted. And this is the little caveat that they display. What it says is basically there's two things. The images that it's showing you, the filters and transformed images, are all going to be reduced to 400 pixels in height. This does not mean that the analysis was done on a reduced copy of the image you've submitted. It just means that it's showing you a 400 pixel height, an analyzed window. And it also says that if there's none displayed after you've uploaded it, it means that your original image is too large. And by too large, it doesn't mean that the file size is too big. It just means that the actual dimensions of the picture is too big. And so if you just sort of size down your picture, it should work fine. I will say I didn't run into this at all, and I used some pretty big images. And then it talks about just right-clicking to save the picture. And then you see the buttons here where you can select to download an entire package, which is all of the different images. So let's do a live demonstration. So here we are. So all I do is type in postmark reveal, and we end up here. This is the site. I hit this button here, upload video, and I find the one that I want to use, and I just upload it. And it's got a nice little bar that tells you it's working on it. And then you've got to wait a second till you see this button down here. It says process. I hit the process button, and it lets me know it's thinking about it. And it's thinking about it. And here we go. So this is my original postmark. And as a non-American collector, like some of these postmarks you guys are going to look at and instantly recognize, but as someone who's not that familiar with the geography or the history of the country, I struggle with these. So here I can see something that looks like maybe Wash, and then here, Lewiston, November 30th, 18. Well, it looks like a 3, but we know that's not possible. So
Nice.
84, 94, and then maybe an RPO here. So we start going through the images, and these first ones are the thresholding ones. I don't find them that useful. You can see the nice little cross. And you can see the Lewiston coming out, the 30. So these are all the thresholding ones. Again, so, and now we're getting into, see how the name here, threshold to modulated. So these, they're all, most of them are in grayscale, but they have all been filtered or transformed using different color channels and different color models. And you can start to see some more details. So here, I'm going to guess this is Charleston. I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Washington, Charleston, November 30th, 1894. This one didn't show anything.
And on the bottom, RPO, Railroad Post
Yes.
Office.
Yes, right here, RPO, Washington. And then there looks to be something in here. There's like you can see a little bit of here something, but I can't see it. And I'm not seeing it in any of these coming in clear. I'm seeing something very faint over here. And you just sort of scroll through them and see what you can find. Again, I think there's something faint here. There's some smudging in here. Um, I find these color ones often very useful, especially if it's the stamp that's obscuring the postmark, which is not the case here. If the stamp is a particular color, these color ones are really good at filtering out that information. Um, yeah, there's the Charleston. You can see the HAR Charleston RPO wash. And then again, I think there's something really faint going on over here. And so based on this, I then went to Google and I simply Googled wash postmark wash Charleston and the date. And so I found a comparison. And so here we can see wash and Charleston. So I think it's the and here that got washed out.
Mhm.
They too have smudging here in the middle that you can't really decipher, and we just don't even have, and then an RPO. So I think it's pretty convincing that this is what my postmark is. And I've got the date wrong here. It's not 34. But you can see it lines up pretty well. I don't have the font correctly, but I think it's a match. So I've identified my postmark. So I
Hmm.
wanted to see what types of images work best. Was it a 300 scanner? Was it a pixels? Was it 600 scan pixels? Was it my phone on my or my camera on my phone? So I chose this one as a test mark, and this is a good example of how the stamp sort of obscures the postmark. It makes it difficult to see. Somebody has penciled in very unhelpful 1945 because I think they're actually covering the state symbol here. And also, it's one of the things you can actually clearly see on this postmark 1945. So I was very annoyed by that. Here's one where I can sort of see it looks like it IS and then RY here. N down here. So it's going to be probably New York or New Jersey. Anything else you guys see in this one?
Oh,
Salisbury.
the name, yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
See, this is where you guys are so much ahead of me. I didn't see the name at all, but you were correct. I was seeing Lister, like I thought this was an List, but it does come out to be Salisbury, New York. And here we can see So here we can see the different resolutions. This is it at 300, and it just looks like a lot of noise. You really can't decipher the stamp from the postmark. Here you can, and in fact, I can actually see now. This is the one where you see Salisbury. It comes through on this one. This is at 600 DPI. So in this case, the 600 was very helpful. And then this is the photograph from my phone. And I would actually argue you can see it, but it's harder. Whereas the white sort of really pops out in this particular case.
Mhm.
Down here, we're looking at a different version of the filtered. Again, the 300, we can see, again, it looks to me like ILIST, but that's wrong. It's Salisbury under 300. You can see it a little closer now. You can see the S here and the A and the under 600. So 600 is definitely better than 300. And then again, you can see it very clearly here, I think, with the phone. And the phone has the highest resolution. And then I just did it again through these examples. So I'll just go through them quickly. So 300 is kind of muddy. 600, it's clearer, and I would argue that the clearest here, Salisbury, comes out with the phone picture. And then down here, same thing. It's kind of muddy under the 300 DPI scanner. Here, it's clearer under the 600 DPI scanner, and then it's the most clear here with the phone picture. Now, notice that between these two, there's different colors occurring, even though this is the same filter. And that's something that has to do with the fact that digital cameras automatically apply their own nonlinear transformation and filters to all images. So you are going to end up with a different image than if you were scanning. And that's because they have these built-in enhancements. But with greater resolution, you also can get more noise. And I couldn't really find a good example of that. I tried to on the right, but I don't think it really makes my point. Yeah, well, it kind of does in that you can see Salisbury a little clearer, I think, under the lower resolution here than you can in the higher resolution. Because there's more information, it sometimes makes the postmark not pop out as clear. And no amount of resolution or post-processing can reveal what was never there. So if the stamp was just light, I came across a lot of instances of this. If the postmark was just light and it just never got transferred to the paper, you can filter all you want. It's not going to pop out. Here's some examples of hard to visualize postmarks. Here's one from my King's covers. And you can see here, like, this looked like a 4 to me, but it's a A. So this is Canada on the side, maybe a W up here. And so under the first one, I think it's just a little clearer. We've got the original, there's a dot here, when here you can see Canada. When one was nice. On the right in the yellow, you can see a G, and it's a very distinctive form G style. And then down here, we've got 36. And then in here, this is where the postmark reveal helped. I would never have spotted. This is a 7, and this is an FE. And the reason I know it's an FE is I was cheating. The back cover has this stamp on it. You can see though, again, like with my live example, once you have some of the words, you just Google Winnipeg, Canada postmark, and you can find your own examples to compare with what you're seeing on Postmark Reveal, which is very useful. I want to thank Edward. He sent me a number of wonderful examples of postmarks where they just really pop out and you can see them clearly. This one is, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Turquoise, Colombia. We've got Mangalore, India in February 6th, 1921. And you can see that like for these, you're using different pictures. Of those 57 varieties, some work for some postmarks and others work for other postmarks. So this one, you can see the Mangalore very nicely here. It completely gets rid of the stamp. And all that you're left with is this beautiful postmark. Oh, I love this one. Yokohama, Japan. Again, it completely gets rid of the background stamp and you can see very clearly the postmark. So it's a lovely tool in that sense. Another example here of where the stamp really obscures the postmark, but it comes out clearly in the postmark reveal.
That one, I
Oh.
got the FRASE, and I went to the list of Australian post offices, and Frasertown was the only one that fit.
Yeah, that's what I found a lot too. Like with my Salisbury, I didn't know that. Like you get parts of it and then you Google it and you're like, oh, that's what it really sort of pops up. In fact, in the case of Salisbury, it anticipated me before I even hit the enter. It just auto filled in Salisbury. And then here, another great example that we've seen from Ed before where, it's hard to see the E on the US partial postage due. And the postmark reveal sort of brings it out and you can confirm, okay, there really is an E there for station E. And here's one that Dan sent me during COVID. I thought, let me try a modern one. And I can't really see that much there. Maybe Easter here. And so I went through them and we have July, August 2020. And then over here, I see Maine. And this in a 04, so April, that fits with Easter. Easter here. What this means, why there's probably a date here. I wasn't able to see that because it just didn't come through. So it's probably says Easter, Maine, April, and then some dates in April. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be Eastern Maine?
They started doing that about 5 years ago, where they started using regional cancelers.
That makes so much more sense. Because my next thing was, why is it saying July, August then? So if it's Eastern Maine, that makes so much more sense. And then I wonder what the 04 is here. Is that even an 04? So it helped, but again, it's not always very, very clear. Limitations. So here's an example of one that was smudged. I can see it's station N, BRAN. I'm assuming branch, but not sure. MA, and again, as a non-American, I didn't know if there was an SS supposed to be at the end or if this was just MA. And then May 14th. And so I put it into Postmark Reveal. I was really trying to see what the smudge thing was in the middle, and it didn't show me anything. Like it's just smudged. There's no coming back from that. So in conclusion, I'd recommend uploading the higher quality scan that you can get the best. So I found my phone in most cases was the best. A higher alternative was 600 DPI. I would imagine, Edward, the 1200 would also be fabulous. The best results were when the design of the stamp was obscuring the mark. It was able through the color filters to sort of filter out the background stamp and then show the postmark. It didn't help with very smudged or missing marks. And to crop out as much of the cover as you can, including the stamp, just to really crop and focus in on that postmark, that helped a lot. And sometimes it took a minute or two for the processed images to appear or for the download button to appear. So just patiently wait. And in thank you, I want to thank the creator of Postmark Reveal for this free service. Please, if you do use this, I'd recommend supporting him through a donation. I want to thank Edward Grabowski for both showing us this great tool and also providing examples. And I want to thank Joan Harmer for also giving us the platform for us to be able to do all of that. So.
Very
Yeah, I
interesting.
just wanted to show it was super easy. You just upload a picture and then boom, they all pop out.